You pick up your phone. You didn't decide to. Your hand just moved. You unlock it. You check the same 3 apps you checked 2 minutes ago. Nothing new is there. You already knew that. You do it anyway. This looks like a modern habit, a glitch of the digital age. But the real answer is far stranger. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do, using a system that is at least 2 million years old, in an environment that no longer matches the one it was designed for. To understand why you check your phone, you have to go back. Not to the invention of the smartphone, not even to the invention of writing. You have to go back to the savannah. Your ancestors were foragers. Every single day, they faced the same question. Where is the food? Not a guaranteed amount of food. Not food that showed up on a schedule. Unpredictable food, scattered across a landscape, hidden under bark, buried in soil, hanging just out of reach in a tree. A berry bush might be full one day and empty the next. A hunt might succeed after 10 failures. There was no way to know in advance. So evolution built you a brain that would search anyway. A brain that treats uncertainty itself as a reason to keep looking. This is where dopamine comes in. And here's the part almost everyone gets wrong. Dopamine is not the chemical of pleasure. It is the chemical of pursuit. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz ran a now famous set of experiments on this exact question. He recorded the brain activity of monkeys as they learned to expect a reward, like a squirt of juice, after a specific cue. At first, the dopamine spiked when the juice arrived. That made sense. But over time, something shifted. The dopamine surge moved earlier, to the cue itself. And when the reward was uncertain, when it came only some of the time, the dopamine response actually got stronger, not weaker. Sit with that for a second. Uncertain rewards fire your brain's reward system harder than guaranteed ones. Your brain isn't built to reward you for having something. It's built to reward you for the chance of getting something. This single mechanism explains an enormous amount of human behavior, and it explains why gambling works, why fishing is addictive even when the fish rarely bite, and why foraging animals will keep pulling at an empty patch of ground long after a full one has run dry. Decades before Schultz's monkeys, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner discovered a version of this in pigeons. He built a box where pressing a lever released a food pellet. When the pellet came every single time the pigeon pressed the lever occasionally, calmly, whenever it wanted food. But when Skinner changed the schedule so the pellet came at random, unpredictable intervals, something strange happened. The pigeon pressed the lever obsessively, constantly, far more than when the reward was guaranteed. Skinner called this variable ratio reinforcement, and it remains one of the most powerful behavioral patterns ever documented. Unpredictable rewards don't just motivate searching. They make searching almost impossible to stop. Now look at your phone. Every time you refresh a feed, you are pulling a lever. Sometimes there's a message. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes there's a comment that makes you feel seen, or a notification that makes your chest tighten. You never know which one it will be until you check. And that not knowing is the entire mechanism. It is Skinner's pigeon box, rebuilt in glass and aluminum, carried in your pocket, refreshed by your own thumb thousands of times a year. But why does this feel so personal? Why does it feel like your phone specifically, rather than just any random object? Because your ancestors weren't just foraging for food, they were foraging for information about their social world too. Who is angry at whom? Who found a new food source? Who might be a threat? Who might be an ally? In small hunter-gatherer bands, social information was survival information. Missing an important social signal could mean exclusion from the group, and exclusion from the group, in that environment, could mean death. Anthropologists studying groups like the Hadza of Tanzania, one of the last populations still living a largely traditional foraging lifestyle, have documented just how much daily behavior in these communities revolves around tracking who has what, who is where, and what happened in the camp while you were away. Gathering social information wasn't idle curiosity. It was constant, active labor, wired directly into the reward system that also drove the search for food. Your phone did not create this drive. It hijacked it. Every app you use taps into the same ancient circuitry. A red notification badge is a ripe berry bush you haven't checked yet. An unopened message is a rustle in the grass that might be prey or might be a predator. Your brain cannot tell the difference between checking for food 80,000 years ago and checking for a text message right now. The circuitry is identical, only the trigger has changed. Here's where it gets even stranger. Your ancestors' search behavior had a natural limit built in. Food was finite. A berry bush ran out. A hunt ended, one way or another, in success or failure. Eventually, the environment gave you a clear signal to stop looking, at least for that day. Your phone has no such limit. The feed doesn't end. The messages don't stop being possible. There is no moment where the environment tells your dopamine system, that's it, nothing more to find here, go rest. Engineers and designers, some quite openly, have studied variable reward schedules and infinite scroll mechanics specifically because they mirror the exact psychological patterns Skinner and Schultz documented. The pull to refresh gesture on your screen is, mechanically and psychologically, a slot machine lever. This isn't speculation. It's been described that way by the very designers who helped build some of these systems, several of whom have spoken publicly, sometimes with regret, about how deliberately these mechanics were engineered. So when you check your phone for the 10th time in an hour, you are not weak. You are not lacking discipline. You are a forager, running an ancient and extremely effective survival program in an environment that never stops offering just enough uncertainty to keep the program running. This doesn't mean you're powerless. Understanding the mechanism is the first step to interrupting it. Foragers eventually learned the shape of their landscape. They learned which bushes to check and when, and which patches to leave alone because the odds weren't worth the effort. That kind of learned pattern recognition is available to you too. Silencing notifications removes the random cue. Setting specific times to check messages restores the natural stopping point your ancestors' environment gave them automatically. Even naming the urge out loud, saying to yourself, "This is the variable reward system firing, not an actual need," can weaken its grip because so much of its power comes from operating below conscious notice. You are not fighting a character flaw. You are renegotiating with a 2-million-year-old survival strategy that has no idea it's being run on a glass screen instead of an open plane. Tonight, when you feel your hand drift toward your phone for no clear reason, notice it. That drift is not new. It is not weakness. It is not even really about the phone. It's the oldest habit you have. You just picked up your phone.